I was encouraged because my parents belonged to a local Catholic church where my dad would work feeding the homeless for 1 week every Christmas, and he would get up and cook for them and take care of them all day long. So we are very encouraged that there's some help coming to the homeless. What I was discouraged about was as I moved back into this community next door to some neighbors we've had for 30 years, including my next door neighbor on one side who bought his parents' house, and my other next door neighbor who bought the house of the elderly couple who lived next to us for our whole life until they passed away. I watched this community change, and this is the streets that I played on as a child. We used to walk freely on the street, we played at night till the streetlights came on, and now I am fearful to walk the streets at night with my daughter because it has just changed, and it's not necessarily the fault of the community or ChristNet. I believe that ChristNet should have a license to work. I just think the location has been really selected next to a school, across the street from a assisted living community. My mother is in an assisted living community. I understand the impact on those places, but I'm afraid to go to the gas station across the street because I just noticed everything changed in the community. And this is where I grew up, and it's disappointing because I've seen other parts of Taylor thrive, and I realized that this is just a situation that needs to be handled in a different way. I believe everybody here wants ChristNet to survive and to help everybody, but I really think it's a different solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
I also didn't check the right box when I came in, sorry. My name is Weaver. I've been with ChristNet for 15 years, both as the board, volunteer, whatever. I am reading a letter which John asked me to read. In putting the complex picture of homeless care in context, people are labeled by such a loose description. As there are many stories, as there are individuals in various stages of needing that care and support. To label someone as such is demeaning and places them in a clarification where walls of awful society, where those on one side of the wall don't see what to do on the other side without them of a price tag. There is no organization in the state of Michigan and county of Wayne that provides unique services for the homeless, including counsel, care, transportation, hygiene, food, and winter shelter by multiple surrounding ChristNet churches. There are churches involved in the support of ChristNet, but there are many more individuals, volunteers, donors, and supporters who provide their time, talent, and financial support that is only available to ChristNet. Side note on my own, yes, there is an increase in homelessness. It's everywhere, whether ChristNet is there or not. And all the incidents that have been listed have occurred. I don't doubt that they have, but you can't prove that they are from ChristNet services. Once they leave the ChristNet, we are not responsible for their behavior, just like when you're sharing.
He's going to gavel you.
We would love a dialogue with you so that we know the issues without getting to this point and not having any idea. I would also like to let you know that if you revoke our license, in 90 days, Wayne Metro plans on opening the same thing, and that's been approved of by the mayor. We want a dialogue, and we want to be with you so we can make our services better for the guests that are here. Thank you.
Is there anybody that has not been recognized yet? Sir, you've already spoken once. Is there anybody that has not spoken that would like to speak before I recognize somebody that's already spoken? Please come forward. Your name, please?
Julie Rutch. My husband and I and our church have been hosting ChristNet guests for almost 20 years and cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. A gentleman for the revocation said something about the elderly having to be afraid. If you look in this room, you can see, I got gray hair. Okay, these are representatives of churches that house the homeless. 30 people come to my church for 7 days. Then they go to the next church for 7 days. Then they go to the next church for 7 days. I believe part of the issue that's going on here is before COVID, there were 34 churches that housed the homeless. So they were off the streets for 34 weeks out of the year. Now there's only 11. Give ChristNet a chance to build that back up in the churches through networking. I've asked 3 people, Northline Church, 242, and Trinity. We need more churches to step up. A gentleman said he sits and has coffee every morning and watches what goes on. Come into the doors of ChristNet and have coffee with them in fellowship. That's what it's there for. There are people who are not homeless that come there to eat. I cook there in the morning for breakfast. I take supplies there on occasion. He's living with his daughter, and he comes there to get away from the grandchildren. They have peace and quiet with coffee in the morning. They can take a shower there. They're doing their laundry there. There's counseling. There's so many resources that ChristNet has done through the years, 32 years. And this business of crime has no address, whether you live in Livonia or Farmington or Redford or Taylor or Romulus or Lincoln Park. There are homeless people. There are crimes. People breaking in cars. You can't prove who did it. No matter where you live, there's going to be crimes, which is unfortunate. I grew up in Livonia in the 60s. My mother told me to lock my doors then. My sister's child says, but we're in Livonia. Crime has no address. It doesn't matter where you live. The doors should be locked. My heart goes out to the residents who are nearby, but ChristNet has been right there for years. It just didn't say ChristNet on the building. They were right at the Church of Nazarene. So I just can't believe that it's going to be shut down, and now I'm hearing that Wayne Metro is going to take it over in 90 days. So there's still going to be homeless in the area. I think it's heartbreaking. You know, during COVID, they were not in our church. They weren't getting hugs. They weren't being prayed with. They weren't being hugged. They're people too. You know, when you donate clothes, when you donate clothes, they don't want them with no buttons or holes or stains. They have the same feelings that we do. It just, I pray to God that the right decision is made and that ChristNet is able to find more churches to get them off the streets in the evening. Thank you.
Please come forward.
Hi, good evening to everyone. I am Pastor Monica Ola with Help Us Near Missionary Ministry Church, and I have listened and heard, and I believe in my heart that we are better together. So we have to have that solution, and I'm believing that we need time. There's a time and season for everything under the sun. So if you can grant ChristNet time, we know that there needs to be a need for the people of the community and for ChristNet to still fly like an eagle. So we're just asking not to revoke license at this time, to give them time. Don't know how much time that's going to be for that move. Because we can see that it needs to be that so we can all still have that peace because we're better together. So we want the people in the community to have that peace. They have to have that peace, and it cannot be with ChristNet right there. So ChristNet, and I know ChristNet, the Lord is going to provide. We have all these people here. We reach deep in our pockets, and we help ChristNet relocate so that ChristNet can continue to flourish and do what they do. The people can have peace in the community. And so I pray that we understand what I'm saying, that ChristNet, it is time to move. Because it's not an appropriate place at this time, because we want peace. It's about peace. And I wasn't going to speak, but my heart goes out to everyone here, all of you. That's why we're Help Us Near, coming up with solutions. So I pray that the license is not revoked at this time, and at that given time in which that is, ChristNet is going to relocate. But I believe that the Lord is going to still help. And we're going to be better together, all of us, because this is good.
watching online since the beginning of the meeting.
And you could hear okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Here, too.
Thank you.
The only thing is I couldn't see the, coming in person is so much more powerful. So I really appreciate that you have such great attendance at your meetings. My name is Carolee Strasser, and did I just say I live in Brazil. I didn't know I'd be able to speak, but then I started hearing people from other communities. But that's good because the whole problem of homelessness is a community-wide, or, you know, if you branch out as the ripples in a pond, every community, every residential area is affected by homelessness. It's not the fault of the people who are homeless.
Hold on one moment. We can not have any side conversations. Thank you. Please allow the woman here to speak freely. Go right ahead.
So ChristNet has, I'm learning more about it, but there are several churches on Rose Hill that have been hosts to people through the network. And I was a social worker for 30 years, so I know a lot about the problem of homelessness. And as I listened to what other cities across the country have done, every major city in every state in the country is dealing with issues that need to be solved. So this is when the creativity has to come. People have to think with their best minds and get ideas, maybe contact other cities, or, you know, to see what are you doing in your neighborhoods. Because, as I heard everyone speak, I heard wonderful things, but I didn't hear very much about the police. And I wondered if when people are breaking the law, if there's a history of calling the police, you know, to deal with specific things, because that narrows down some activities. But when people are unhoused, it's a very complex issue. They don't have any choices. When you're unhoused, you can't get social services because you don't